Nelson from the European Parliament, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank the European Parliament to be here today. The institutional support of this initiative is fundamental. We cannot move forward without the support of the European institution. That's the second sentence that I'm saying today. Then I would like also to ask the European Commission, Adrian, to join us. He will provide us an overview of all the initiatives that have been taken in Europe, and without any kind of link between the European Commission and David. But David is coming from California, 12 hours flight from Rome, and we are very glad to have the American point of view on this debate. We all know how important it is to have an American in this discussion, and how important it is that COP21 is a global problem, and we have to find a global solution. The EMF is a global entity. We have members in all the globe, and we want to provide a benchmark for all the stakeholders taking action at global level. David, thank you very much for being here. On the other side of the globe, always 12 hours of flight, I would like to thank also Shakiro to be here and to give an overview of what is going on in Japan. And also, we ask you to come from Tokyo to here in Rome, because I think for the Italians, it's very important to understand what is the link between energy efficiency and anti-seismic. We have 5 regions in Italy that suffer enormously for the earthquake. We have to rebuild 5 regions. We have to decide if we want to rebuild this in an energy efficiency way or like they were. It's an opportunity, and having you here and sharing with us your experience is extremely important. Then we have James. James is a friend, a colleague who decided to share the challenge to put together this consortium. This consortium is a special consortium, I would say a bit unique, because we try to put together different voices, different perspectives, different problems, and try to find common solutions. James, together with Valentina, will bring on stage the perspective of the energy efficiency expertise. What is needed? What are the key parameters that we have to identify to assess if a building is energy efficient or not? Valentina, whenever you want. For us, their contribution is essential. We cannot start this journey without understanding what are their needs. And then Marco. I had the pleasure to meet him 1 year ago, actually, and we discovered that energy suppliers have a strong interest in energy efficiency. The power of E.ON as an integral part of the partnership is that E.ON is one of the largest suppliers of energy in the continent. They reach with their services 25 million of people. And this is a partner for our banks. It's a way to find solution. Marco, thank you very much for being on board and for your active participation in our consortium. And then I would like to invite Mark to me as well. We are also having the valuers' point of view on the stage. Because who has to assess if an house is green or not? Only the valuers can do this exercise. We have to find the right price. The right price for the service. We have to find the right guidelines for all the valuers community in the continent. So that was our way to welcome our speakers and to thank them for being here in Rome. I want to contextualize why we are doing this exercise. What we are doing, it's extremely difficult. Most of you in this room have doubts. They are not convinced of what we are doing is the right thing. And we don't know if we will succeed. Well, I want to say something from the very beginning is that if we will succeed all together. If we will fail all together. In the sense that you are here in this room today, not for assisting on a nice event in Rome, which is delicious. I can feel this kind of holidays atmosphere but is because we need your contribution. We need that all of you think to what is your problem and what can be a European solution. The other day, we had our annual meeting in the ECB. When I entered in the building of the ECB, next to the reception, there was a sentence on the wall from Robert Schuman. Well, Europe was not built in one day. This is a nice match with Rome. And I think that is a progressive steps that we have to do it. This French gentleman had an idea after World War II, which was very simple. We can build a common political area, a common political financial area, only if we share resources. At that time, on the 9th of May of the 50s, it was coal and steel, because they were the most important resources of the economy and the industry at that time. Only by sharing this, French and German will never repeat the tragedy of World War II. My generation had the fortune and the luxury to live in an era of peace. But I grew up, like all of you in this Europe, now it's our turn. And coal and steel are not anymore the essential component of our economy. But the cheapest source of energy is energy efficiency for the European Union. So if we don't find a way how we can share energy efficiency, how we can bring private capital to the energy efficiency, we lose our battle. And we don't respect the effort done by a generation, the one of Robert Schuman. And we have to, it's time to give our contribution. That's why I sincerely believe what we are doing is difficult, is complex. I don't know if we will succeed, but it's important. Also, we are trying to put together the energy, and we wanted to start, I can say this now that Joanna is here, from this building in Rome. Today, for us, is an important date because our organization is celebrating the 50th anniversary of their activities. But it's also the anniversary of the Treaty of Rome. The Treaty of Rome was signed on the 57, very close from here, in the Palazzo dei Conservatori, which is on the Campidoglio. We were in doubt to organize the meeting there or here. We decided to go here because we wanted to give a strong signal that we were in the banking federation. We want to bring solution. And also, I sincerely believe that the Treaty of Rome was not a victory, was a plan B. Here we want to give a different signal. We want to build again the circular economy that we miss with the Treaty of Rome. Treaty of Rome, we built a confederation. Now the challenge is we have to build a union. So we wanted to select a different place, a different venue to start this journey. Why I believe that we have a role as a European Mortgage Federation, and we have the responsibility of putting together this consortium, this cross-sectorial consortium. Well, we know that COP21 is a fantastic treaty. I think we have to celebrate this, but it's also a very risky financial operation for all our nations. And it will be stringent, it will create a huge cost. I don't know how to assess the cost of what could be, but I mean, there are strange numbers. Energy efficiency costs can be around 100 billion per year. It's a number so big that we cannot understand how big it is. Today in the meeting I say that it's one Brexit per year that we have to pay but it's enough. Just to give you, I asked Daniele, my team, to put down some numbers. I asked him the first question, how many citizens we have living in the continent, in the European Union, including UK? It's 510 million of people. Who can convince all of these all these people to make investment in their house? Because the challenge of the European Commission is that we have to convince every single of you to go back home and to invest in your house. Well, that's a challenge. It's a lot of people. Who can reach this? Regions, states, city halls? No. In Europe, we have a very complex financial infrastructure, which is based on one key actor, which was decided for very good reasons from my point of view. I work for a banking association. We have more than 8,000 banks. But I asked Daniele, okay, banks, but how many branches we have in the union? Where do people go for asking money? Well, in Europe, we have more than 188,000 of branches. So the capillarity of the banks is incredible, and we are the only one that can create the link between every single personal decision and the number of dwellings in the union. We have in the union almost 250,000 of residential units, million of residential units. And 90% of those were built before 2001. So we need to convince owners of 210 or 20 million of houses to make renovation. It's a huge task. And I think that we are placed in the right place to help every single citizens to do something. That's why I think that there is room for our initiative. We take this very seriously, and we are playing a charismatic role. And I will try to sell smoke today to you. But believe me, where there is smoke, there is also fire. Whatever we'll be doing today is a fake information until we don't succeed. If we succeed, this will become all real. So the commitment of our industry is there. We discussed this in length. There are a lot of doubts in our board because there are a lot of technical problems, but there is the willingness of moving forward and to see what is feasible. We are in Italy, and we try to take some numbers and iterate. Thank you for sharing these numbers with me. There was a very recent study that demonstrated that the average renovation in a building of almost 15,000 euros, which is something affordable, can produce an added value in the property of around 60,000. This is a very interesting concept which is entering the pocket of every citizen, but also making the balance sheet of a bank much more robust. From these numbers, we understand that our initiative is the crossroad between three major agendas of the European Commission: financial stability, growth, and energy, and the energy agenda. So we are the cog that could allow this mechanism. Of course, the volume that can be brought in the real economy with new jobs, new construction, and renovation is thinkable. I mean, it's difficult to give a number. When we apply for Horizon 2020, the Commission asked, what is the lending capacity that you can ensure us? I said, okay, let's invent a number. That's in my staff. I asked my staff, what is the amount of mortgage lending, in the average amount in the last 5 years? So banks have put in the real economy more than 850 billion euros. Last year, with the remortgaging factor, it was more than 1.1 trillion. Our industry counts for 57% of the European GDP. So if we move all together, we build a revolution. So having you here today is fundamental for us. We are honored for your presence and for having all these people on stage. I would like to also tell something, because we all move out from our country, but I'm Italian basically. And I would like to thank, I have some friends from Campotosto, which is a very tiny little town in Italy, most unknown also for the Italians. But regions and villages over there have been completely destroyed. I say this with a bit of emotion. People, they don't know where to go to sleep. And they will have to rebuild the entire region. It's tiny. This is the city hall before and afterwards. But all the private houses are in this condition. If we use public money, we will put under pressure the public debt of Italy, and we will most probably ask money for the European Commission. But if we do this in the right way, we build an opportunity for our country. These regions in the winter have 2 meters of snow. So having an hour's energy efficiency is changing the life of every citizens, the disposable income of every citizens. Paying the petrol for heating a house with 2 meters of snow can be quite costly. So I wanted to touch with this kind of tiny passional element because that's how we want to start. This is not the bubble of Brussels. We have the feet on the ground. We speak with people in every corner of the continent. I travel on a daily basis in whatever country, Portugal, Spain, Ireland. I'm everywhere. We understand the problems of everyone. We want to bring solution. We are not the bubble of Brussels. That's the message that should be clear for the press and for the institutional representative. Now it's my great pleasure to give the floor to Giovanni Sabatini by thanking him for the kind of hospitality in the throne room of Pope Clemente X. It's a great pleasure for me to be here, and I give you the floor. Thank you very much.